Hi, this is George Free and welcome to another Martial Arts Media Business Podcast. Today I am speaking with Shidoshi Grant Bannister. Now, Shidoshi Grant Bannister has been in the martial arts industry for a very long time, so we're going to have a great chat just about where he's come from, and he's also just recently got inducted into the Australian Martial Arts Hall of Fame, so we're also going to have a bit of a chat about that. So welcome to the show, Grant.
Thank you, George, and thank you for having me. It's great. I've watched a lot of your podcasts, and they're really great, so I feel honoured to be part of it.
That's fantastic. Awesome. So let's start right from the beginning, Grant. So who is Grant Bannister?
Well, I've been a working guy all my life. I was a TV technician. I've got a family of 3 kids and 4 grandchildren. I started my martial arts journey way back in 1959 under a guy called Wally Strauss. I wasn't interested in football, and this guy said, "Oh, I'm going to do judo." And I thought, "Oh, I don't know what it is, but I'll do it." So I trained for a whole year with Wally Strauss. I left my martial arts go until I was 29, I think I was, when I got back into it. And my journey started then, and been going ever since.
Fantastic. So 29, and then when did you start on the path of instructing?
Well, I started with a guy called with Sanchi Kai and Mel Lomax, and Mel was very big into, once you've got knowledge, you start teaching, which is great. I think that happens a lot nowadays. So probably less than 2 years after I started, I was teaching, and Mel asked me to open up my own club, which I did down in Blackburn, and we went from there. Unfortunately, Mel passed away a few years ago. He moved to Queensland in 1986. I didn't stay with Sanchi Kai. Another chap himself decided to start just training in the garage, and after a while we got more and more people coming in, and all of a sudden the garage was full, and we had to start looking for a hall. And then I thought, well, we'll have to start putting something together and make it our own style. So we called it Aikido Karate. That was in 1986. And we've grown slowly from then, not in a large amount, but in that time I've probably taught thousands and thousands of students. So it's been a great journey. I've had some amazing people by my side, and that makes you want to keep going. People say to me, "Oh, you're 74 now, it's about time you retire," went around Australia. But I still get a big buzz out of seeing the kids, starting to show respect and towards their parents and us. So it's still a journey.
For sure. So 74 years old. Wow, that's good going now. And I just want to calculate the years back. So you've been doing martial arts then for the last
40 plus.
40 plus. Okay, so we got all right, fantastic. So 40 years. I mean, that's my lifetime right now. So just in comparison from where you started to where things are now, what's sort of the biggest changes and adjustments that you've had to make along the way?
Look, I think back then was crazy. Everyone used to belt the hell out of each other, and it was really, really dangerous. Like people lost kidneys and all sorts of things, and of course OH&S start to come in, and people realised that they could get sued, so it all changed. But it was a good time. I had a great time with security and all that sort of stuff. Mel Lomax had contacts, and we spent a week with Olivia Newton-John on her when Xanadu was opened, and we had the Boomtown Rats and quite a few other celebrities, and it was a good time. A lot of those people liked the martial arts, and they wanted to become a little bit more involved in it. I think Bob Jones had Fleetwood Mac at the time. Richard Norton was bodyguard with Fleetwood Mac, and they were good fun times. There wasn't a lot of animosity, amongst the crowds, although we did have problems, but it was just a really, really good fun time for me.
Okay, so and did you pursue that bodyguarding type of role for a long time?
I think it was about 4 years. We it was like a security thing. It wasn't a bouncing thing. So, I mean, I think when we did the Olivia Newton-John thing, she got the keys to the city at Melbourne Town Hall, and there was thousands of people there. It just reminded me of the Beatles days. And I was actually just telling someone the other day, even getting her to the car was almost impossible. The crowd was so packed. And we got down to the car, and Mel said, I don't know how we're going to get her in. So he opened the door, and I had to lean against the car and push the door open so she could get in. And the next thing, I had this guy sitting on my head trying to get her autograph. So I'm trying to hold the door, and this idiot's sitting on my head. I couldn't do anything about it. So it wasn't all about punching and kicking and all that sort of stuff. It's just trying to do the right thing and trying to keep the celebrities safe from the crowds.
Right. Sounds like interesting days.
It was, certainly was. Nothing comes close to that from what I've done since.
So you mentioned that people were losing kidneys and things like that. Was it basically due to not regulations and things in place in the industry?
It was. Look, back then, I mean, even the bouncers in hotels, they didn't have name tags. You know, they could do a lot of damage and just disappear. And a lot of them would turn up into martial arts, and all they wanted to do was fight full contact. And some nights you felt you were just trying to stay alive, you know, by keeping your hands up and moving around. So it was a very brutal learning curve. And it slowly changed, and people say, oh, it's not the same nowadays and it's watered down. But the way I look at it is if you're teaching children and they can go out and they've got some self-defence, Dave Kovar always says, you know, some self-defence is better than no self-defence. And if they've become more alert and they're more courteous to people and they can understand where the other person's coming from, they've got a lot less chance of getting into trouble.
Yes, that's something that Dave Kovar also mentioned on the show. That was when they started with teaching martial arts. It was all about adults, and it was there wasn't really kids martial arts, and it only started at a later time. Now, in that time, do you feel there's been a bit of a shift in? You know, if you say it's a bit watered down, do you think the focus has changed in martial arts? That it's maybe not that much. Well, it's still focused on self-defense, but that it is a bit more watered down, as they say, for to accommodate kids and other people within the martial arts, and also with sports martial arts, I guess.
Yeah, look, I have quite a few conversations with Graham Slater, and he's you know, as he's into the insurance, obviously. But, you know, you don't want to get sued for teaching wrong techniques or dangerous exercises. And when the Martial Arts Board came in 1988, I think, you know, they tried to close a lot of schools down because of the dangerous exercises. So you don't want a child or an adult coming into your club and learning things that could damage them later in life. Like myself, I haven't had knee replacements, but they're getting close. But everyone I train with has had bad knees, you know, because we used to do probably an hour of those bunny hops. And of course, the Australian Institute of Sport, you know, they had a good look at all this and tried to change it. So any of the cowboys that are still around, you know, they risk being sued, and the insurance companies won't stand by them if they're doing stupid things in their teaching.
Right, so I guess it's more a way of the world, because I mean that's really just what's happened. You know, I mean everything gets regulated to the point of you got to be covered, and especially with something like martial arts. I mean, that's got to be the worst side effect, damage to your business. And obviously the people that you damage, you know, in the process. But I mean that's got to be the hardest thing to overcome, is if you have people go through an injury or something, and all the spotlights is on your school for doing potentially the wrong thing, which was injuring someone or harming someone within the training.
Yes, that's correct. And look, I think most people are more aware. We've got so much knowledge now with you can watch YouTube or Google stuff. The only thing that worries me a little bit is I've always loved nunchaku. That's been my thing, and you really can't teach a lot of the weapons now without everyone getting a license. So it's not just the teacher that's got to get a license; it's the person in the class has got to get a license. And the kids love weapons. They love wooden weapons and but things like boken, the wooden sword. You've got to have a license for a lot of stuff. And sometimes I think, if someone had a dangerous weapon from one of the big hardware stores, you can walk out with a chainsaw or whatever. Compared to boken, it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I can understand why there should be regulation, but sometimes I think they go overboard a little bit.
Yes, bubble wrap. Bubble wrap everything. Bubble wrap the kids. Yes.
Yes.
All right. So now tell me about the induction into the Australian Martial Arts Hall of Fame, and congratulations, of course.
Oh, thank you. Look, it was a very good weekend. I've been to 3 now where my friends have been inducted. It is a lot bigger than most people know about. I mean, I'd spoken to George Kolovos. I said, "Do you know about it?" And he didn't even know about it. So there's a lot of people out there and really good leaders in the martial arts that should be recognised. And the Martial Arts Hall of Fame is a good way of doing it in Australia. I think there was 2 or 3 came from New Zealand this year. So it's the Australasian Martial Arts Hall of Fame as well. And it's very humbling to be amongst these amazing people. Some of them have done incredible stuff. And to be part of that was really good. It's a good weekend. There was a guy with Taekwondo called Paul Mitchell. He actually ran it up in Sydney and put a lot of effort into it. There was probably, we trained all Saturday and Sunday, and the dinner presentation night was on the Saturday night. So it was probably on the floor training, would have been close to 100 at one stage. So, and these are all, or most of them are higher grades. They do allow lower grades and that to train. But the knowledge you gain from the whole weekend was just sensational. I took up about 20 of my guys, and they all came back raving about it, saying they love the cross training of the different people. So I can thoroughly recommend it if you can get a chance. It's in Hobart next year in August. Yourself or anyone else that can get along, it's a good weekend.
Sounds great. So, do you know what the actual criteria is to be inducted?
They've got different levels. I think you can get instructor, and there's all different levels where you get up to the old people like me. I think mine was called a Lifetime Achievement Award. So there is different levels. So younger guys can go into it, but usually it's got to be recommended. And as I said, they really go into your background. You can't just go up there and say, "Oh, look, I'm a 23rd degree. I think I deserve it." That just doesn't happen. They go into your background and your qualifications and your gradings and stuff like that. So you can see it online if you just look up Ammerhoff, I think Australian Martial Arts Hall of Fame.net, I think it is. So worth having a look.
All right, fantastic. We'll do that. Okay, so Grant, tell me. I mean, you've been in the industry for a very long time. So, if you could reverse things, if you in the current situation of where things are going in the martial arts industry, what do you see is great, where it's moving forward, and what do you see as you wish it was back to the roots or back in the day?
look, people say to me, oh, it was really good back in those days. I wouldn't change it. The progression is fantastic. You see, like, even people from overseas, like Tom Callos and Barry Van Overen, those sort of guys, they give of themselves so much. I mentioned Paul Velman, he gives of himself so much. You can join the Paul Velman's group, which is MABS, M-A-B-S, I think it's called, which is a little bit more in depth, but they still give freely of their own knowledge. And the beauty about that is what we're talking about, safety and stuff like that. People get to know what is safe and what is not, and they know if they go down the path of teaching kids the wrong thing, I mean being choked out and stuff like that, then they won't be around long. And if they do the wrong thing and they get sued, an insurance company doesn't stand by them, they lose their house, their assets and everything. So everyone's got to toe the line. My wife just turned up. Hi.
Hello. So Grant, who are the students that you have trained that you are most proud of?
Well, look, there's a couple of them, three actually that come to mind. I've had a lot of black belts come through that have been fantastic. But Crystal Lordigas, she won the ISCA Women's Black Belt Division in 2008. That's the overall division of all the black belts. That was the ISCA World Titles. Ross Rodolico, he won the black belt division in ISCA in 2002. Stretching my mind here a little bit. And we've got this other guy called Danny Owen. He's got a young family now, so he trains occasionally. Graham Slater Graham Slater ran this competition trying to find the best martial artists in Australia. And it had some strange criteria, but my guy Danny Owen won it. And we went out to Listerfield. There's a big monastery out there for the Buddhists, and they had a Shaolin monk come out and present him with the winnings. And he went and stayed with the Shaolin monks for a week, just training with them exclusively. And he was taken around China with every other winner from every other country with a show. So it was a life-changing experience for him. So, to have three brilliant people like that around you, it gees you up. It makes you want to do more. I've got a granddaughter. She's 16, and she's the only one in the family that's training with me, and she's loving it. But you can see her journey's just starting, and it's a bit of a long journey.
Definitely so. So, who has kept you going in your martial arts journey? That's walked the path beside you.
Oh, look, all the black belts. I've got probably only got about 15, 20 black belts at the moment with me. But the standard of these guys is fantastic. I think sometimes people come into your club and they look at you and then they sum you up and they'll stay with you or not. And sometimes, they look at you and if you're not aggressive enough, they'll go to someone who's got an aggressive output. Whereas we try and be, help each other. It's like Paul Velman's club, Kendo Martial Arts. All those guys down there, I've trained with them, and they're all fantastic. They all help each other and try and gear each other up. And we do the same with us. And that's kept me going, And see, look, I've had a girl who's virtually my manager now, Bella. Now, Bella's been with me since she was 5. And back in those days, she's 23 now. I wouldn't take anyone under about 6 or 7. It was unheard of. And the mother just virtually begged me to take her, and she's been with me ever since and still continuing her martial arts journey. So it's people like that keep you G'd up and keeping me wanting to go down the club all the time and helping them and seeing them get it better and better.
Awesome. Fantastic. So Grant, last question from me. What's next for you in your martial arts journey?
Look, there's a few things I've got in the pipeline. Obviously, the physical side of me is getting less and less. But I do like the lifestyle that martial arts does. It does keep you healthy. My wife just walked in then. She does an hour walk every day. She's 70 years old and she walks an hour every day. And the doctor said to her, she's the fittest 70-year-old he's ever seen. So, the martial arts promotes healthy living and all that, and I think we've got so much to offer to the community, and I don't understand why it's not as accepted as much as a lot of other sports. Another thing I've been working on with Cancho Terry Lim is a thing called ABOC, which is the Australian Board of Canchos, which is like a grading panel. We're running into a few problems there because people are coming up and wanting to grade to 5th degree and they've only been training for 3 years, and so that's a bit of a nightmare. But I've got people helping me like Bruce Haynes and Tony Ball and Graham Slater, people like that. They're on board because a lot of people go into their own styles and then they don't know where to go for grading. So we're working pretty hard on that as well. But I do hope to continue my club, and I'm not too worried if it doesn't grow dramatically. I like to know the names of all the kids that come in. So if it gets too big, you sort of lose control of that personal contact.
For sure. Well, Grant, it's been great speaking to you. And look, I've got to say, you're probably a legend in the industry. I mean, you're a true testament of living the lifestyle all the way and 74 years old, and you've got no sign of stopping. So congrats to you. Well done. And lastly, if anybody wants more information about you, which website can they go? Where can they find more information about you?
Well, I've got to talk to you about the website, obviously. Doing it yourself isn't quite the right thing to do, I realise that. Just www.bakitokarate, it's one word, .com.au.
All right, fantastic. Grant, it's been great speaking to you, and I will speak to you soon.
Thanks, George. I appreciate you having me. It's great to talk to you as well.
Awesome. Cheers.
Okay, bye-bye.